imagine just for a minute your life as it is now. Now picture yourself, your family, your loved ones, work, friends. Think of it, all the good times you have, and even just some of the current challenges of day-to-day life. Now, can you picture that? Now just imagine for a moment that you were suddenly in a car accident and suffered a traumatic brain injury. And when you woke up, you had a different personality. You had to relearn the most simplest of tasks like walking and so much more all over again. Would the troubles you had now seem insignificant? Now that's what exactly happened to my guest today, Winnie Anderson. I'd like to welcome you to the John A. McCabe Show, strategies for entrepreneurs looking to accelerate their authority. The purpose of the show is to educate you, the business person, entrepreneur, expert, author, speaker, in strategies that will help you rapidly grow your business, while at the same time position you in your marketplace. Now we're streaming to you live through Facebook, where they let anyone with a camera, a mic, produce and publish a show and name it after themselves. And by the way, it's sponsored by iOpera Solutions Real Estate Services. Thank you for that. So you're going to really love my guest today. She's a really dear friend of mine. She calls me the passionate introvert, which I'm sure she'll share with you that story a little bit later on in the show. And let's get those minds out of the gutter, people, because that kind of show is for Friday, remember? That's the Anything Goes show. But seriously, Winnie had to overcome some serious adversity in her life when she was in a car accident in 1999 when she suffered a traumatic brain injury that actually changed her personality after the recovery. Now, Winnie was a director of HR in corporate America prior to that, but after the accident, it all changed. Not only did she have to relearn things most of us take for granted, but she also had to reinvent herself. Now, I know she's going to talk a little bit about her incredible transformation journey into the world of entrepreneurship, coming not only from corporate America, but fresh off a brain injury as well. So before we get into the show, I just want to share with you a very similar story to Winnie's. Actually, that's one that's very close to our family, one that affected us very deeply. When I was in grade 5 or 6, my younger brother Trevor got hit by a car as he and his friend Randy were driving their bikes down the road. There are many things you forget as a kid, but something like that just isn't one of them. So of course, these were the days when nobody wore bike helmets. It was back in probably 78, 79. Even though Trevor cracked his skull, he recovered relatively quickly. But near the end of his recovery, it was discovered that there were things he just didn't know how to do. And walking was one of them. So he had to learn how to walk all over again. Now, thankfully, he went on to recover back to being, the spoiled baby of the family that he always was, and became very successful in the sport of fast pitch softball and basically generally in life. So with that, what Winnie went through, I have a good idea of what it does to the family, as well as how hard the person has to work to recover from something that severe. Now, Winnie has gone on to establish herself as an award-winning brand strategist and copywriter. She's won the Silver Prize in the 2007 Davy Awards for a sales kit that she designed and wrote the copy for. And in addition to the prize, the kit also brought in $400,000 worth of new business in just 4 months. Now, she's the #1 best-selling author of Stand Out and Attract Great Clients, and the host of Let's Talk Tech, which she launched successfully in spite of having only 213 people on her email list. Now, she was able to get on iTunes New and Noteworthy for all of iTunes in less than an hour after its official launch. And in 24 hours, it was in the New and Noteworthy of each of the 3 different categories it's listed for, and it stayed there for almost 8 weeks. And now Winnie works with corporate escapees who want to grow their consulting or coaching practice but really hate selling. But what she discovered was that too many consulting clients would tell her that they just couldn't implement the marketing strategies that she developed for them because they just didn't understand the technology required to execute it. Remember, these are people coming from corporate America, not necessarily tech-savvy individuals. They're people with a lot of expertise in their skill set or in their base of knowledge, and typically it's not in the tech industry. So they didn't really understand it well enough to hire someone to do the work or do it themselves. Now they would really get paralyzed and just stay plateaued and basically working way too hard. And that's when Winnie decided to start the Let's Talk Tech podcast show. It shares information in plain English to help people get a basic understanding of technology and how to use it and how they should decide if it's for them or if they should hire someone else to help them out. Now, the podcast and establish you as the expert or the authority in your field, but it's also a great way to generate a lot of leads, opportunities, clients, and generate a great deal of income as well. Now on the show, Winnie's going to share with us the 3 keys to a profitable podcast and 5 questions that you should ask before you actually start a podcast. Now I want you to pay close attention to what Winnie has to say. She's quickly taken what seems complicated and overwhelming to many of the people who are tech challenged and makes it easy for people to grasp and understand. So I think you're really going to enjoy Winnie and enjoy the material and some of the other things that I'm going to share with you today, which are actually 2 book launches that are taking place right now by friends of mine. Now they're launching their books for just 99 cents for the Kindle version today, and one of them is in the relationship space and the other is in the entrepreneur space. So without further ado, let's get into the 2 book launches, and when we come out of that, we're going to get right into the interview with Winnie. So my first friend, Who Men Love and Marry. Now this is Joe's 4th book where he helps guys and girls understand the opposite sex for the purpose of dating and relationships. Now Joe's already a 2 or 3 time best-selling author, and in this book, Bitchology doesn't play silly word games or engage feminist groupthink. It's a tough love relationship guide for women who think that they're too nice or too bitchy to succeed with men and haven't abandoned common sense. It really shows that the choice between being a submissive doormat and man-hating bitch is a false one. So you lose either way. So fortunately, there's another approach to attracting, getting, and keeping a great guy that works like a charm. So Joe talks about this in his book. Men with options in an increasingly global dating market are looking for a different kind of woman, confidently, feminine, and one that's a keeper. And keepers are in short supply in many parts of the country. The thesis should come as an encouraging news to all North Americans, best women, but it's not as easy as it seems. Perfection isn't necessary, of course, but women normally won't change their luck with men by being confident or feminine. They need an abundance of both confidence and femininity to really crush it out there. So I'd like you to do me a huge favor. Joe just launched this book today. It's 99 cents on Amazon. What we're going to do is we're actually going to put the link in the comments field a little bit later on in the show. So if you do me a huge favor, just click on the link, go ahead to Amazon, pick up the Kindle version for just 99 cents. That would be greatly appreciated. And while you're doing this, while you're down there clicking and liking and sharing, go ahead and click, like, and share this particular live cast with all of your people in your social media. Tweet it out to all your followers. Let's bring in the crowd. Let's bring in some people and bring in some love for Winnie. Okay, so my second book is by another friend of mine, Mario Ficini. Now it's actually one of his clients. Strategies in doing that is helping them become a best-selling author. So Mario is helping his client Manola Webster launching her new book today as well, called Wealth Building for the Entrepreneur, which I feel is definitely needed in today's society because most people go throughout their entire lives and never understand anything about money, capitalism, finance, or the economy. Now, education is subject specific. These subjects are not taught in the vast majority of schools, especially from kindergarten to grade 12. Actually, someone can even get several advanced college degrees, up to and including a doctorate. And if they don't take these types of courses as electives or part of their curriculum for a career in the financial industry, then they can be in the same financial educational literacy level as someone who did not even graduate from high school. Now, something needs to change. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and, as mentioned, we're going to put the link for this book as well, but please help my friends out, help them build their authority by getting a copy of their book for 99 cents. And we're going to share those links with you just a little bit in the show. So again, the information to get the book will be posted in the comments below. And as I'm talking about comments, make sure you like, share, and comment on this video, and let us know if you have any questions for Winnie during the show as we get rolling here. And just make sure you show your love and support. Now, every single entrepreneur or business owner, author, expert, or speaker needs to position themselves in the I'll start that again. I'm ahead of Margaret doing the switching there. So every single entrepreneur, business owner, author, expert, or speaker needs to position themselves in the marketplace and build their authority. The faster they can position themselves and accelerate their authority, then they need to have someone in business development strategies to help get them there. And I'm here today with a lady I've known for probably 3 to 4 years who is a great strategist and not only helps other business owners and entrepreneurs who want to build a platform that positions them as a unique authority and trusted advisor, who want to leverage their time to create additional streams of revenue from the content they create, but she has done it for herself in her own business by being a #1 best-selling author and the host of the iTunes New and Noteworthy podcast for 8 weeks straight to help grow her business. She's the founder of the host of Let's Talk Tech with Winnie Anderson. So what I'd like you to do is welcome to the show, Winnie Anderson. So we're just going to switch. There we go. Hey, Winnie, how you doing? Oh, sorry. Let me. Hey, Winnie, how you doing? No, thank you very much for taking the time to share with our audience your knowledge, your expertise, your journey, what it's like to truly be an entrepreneur. So how about everybody show Winnie some love? Be sure to hit the heart button when you hover over the like button. So go ahead and do that. Show her some love. Say hello to Winnie and post your comments and questions for her in the comment field. And I'm just going to quickly click on here and see we got. So there's a couple people on right now. Jeff and Lisa, thanks for joining us. So Winnie, why don't we start off by you telling us a little bit about your origin story, how you get into entrepreneurship, and basically your journey and the challenges that you faced. Oh, Winnie, just hold on one sec here. There's no audio coming in from Winnie. Okay, so sorry, I actually have to do this. So it worked in our about 15 minutes ago.
Say something for us. All right, awesome. Okay. And that was a moment of silence in honor of Gene Wilder. So he did, and it just broke my heart.
Let's say something now, Winnie.
I can. I can. And if anybody can hear me, John is a great example of just do it. We all know that tech only works when it works, but if you wait until it's perfect, you are never going to get started. So believe me, I applaud John for doing this.
So I think I have it covered, Winnie. It looks like, can people just let us know if you can hear us both? But it looks like, well,
Yeah, so for those people who are listening and those who are chatting with me, post a comment in the chat so we can make sure that you can hear.
I think we're ready to roll now, Winnie. We've got both of our audio coming in, and for whatever reason it was working, because Winnie and I were connected an hour before the show and we tested everything out. But, that's the beauty of live technology when you're doing it yourself. And yeah, you can test it all, but when it comes to showtime, you never know what's going to happen.
That's
all right.
Right.
So we're ready to go, Winnie. So how about we dive into your origin story, how you get into entrepreneurship, your journey, and the challenges that you faced.
Okay. When I was in corporate life, I had a great job at probably the height of the casino industry in the United States. And I was loved by my employer, actually a little bit too much. Those of you who have been in corporate America know very well that at some point you're almost punished for being good, right? So I had reached a point where I was traveling extensively for my employer, and I also reached a point where I was over that and just didn't want to do it. And I was going to be forced to travel 100% of the time. At the same time, I just had this feeling that there was something more. And I know those of you who are entrepreneurs know what I'm talking about. You can't explain it. It's this feeling in your heart that you're being pulled in a different direction. So I resigned. I left a job that I was well thought of and just walked out. Gave my notice and left. Didn't know what I was going to do, and thought about becoming a consultant and failed and had to go back to work. And I got a job with the American Red Cross at a local chapter that was rapidly growing. And about 18 months and 4 promotions later, I was the director of human resources there. And I was working 7 days a week, 10, 12, sometimes 15 hours a day. And I was in a car accident. I was going to work on a beautiful early spring, late winter morning, and I woke up again in the car as they were trying to cut me out.
Wow.
And that accident literally changed my life. John was telling you the exact truth. It truly changed my entire personality. And I equate it to, imagine your brain is a filing cabinet, and it's a very tall filing cabinet. And now imagine that somebody comes and takes the drawers out that are stuffed full of files and dumps them on the floor, and then smears them all around, and then picks them up and just throws them in the random drawers. That's what having a brain injury is like.
Wow.
So the theory is that you don't actually lose the memory, it's that it's somewhere misfiled, and your job then is to try to recover the memory, and for whatever you can't recover, to try to develop strategies to work around it. And for someone who had been, an executive, and who I had just graduated with my master's degree in the top 10% of the entire graduating class, it was demoralizing, frankly.
For sure.
I couldn't tie my shoes.
You have to retrain those synapses in the brain so that they're going, to the right pathway to actually be able to tell your body to do the things that you want it to do.
Right.
So it can be very challenging. So then you transition into entrepreneurship, and you've been doing that for, I've known you for 3 or 4 years now through a lot of the coaching and courses that we've done down in the U.S., that I've done down in the U.S. You're in the U.S., but just touch a little bit about on your journey into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, as I was starting my recovery, I had wonderful friends who were in various levels in their own organizations, and as they heard that I was getting better, they would give me these little projects to do. And those things were so important to me because not only was it great therapy, but it was also the kind of esteem builder that I really needed because I needed to have my confidence was completely shot. I literally could not tie my shoes and had to relearn that. So for somebody who was, who did all the things I did and then to not be able to tie my shoes, I really questioned if I would ever be able to be an advisor at
Right.
the level that I once was. So those kinds of little independent projects were really important to me. And as I started to get better and better, I started to think, I'd really rather not go back to work if I don't have to.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I started to read about promoting yourself and that writing was a great way to do that.
Definitely.
So I reached out to a friend of mine who I didn't even realize she was in charge of the supplement, a career supplement for a local newspaper.
Okay.
So she hired me.
Excellent.
And I ended up writing the cover story and a couple of other articles for that supplement, which, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And when the first time you're published, you stop people on the street to tell them that you got
For sure.
published, right?
Yeah, you're telling the world, hey, I just
So,
got published in a newspaper. Hey, I'm in the
exactly, that's
newspaper. I just
exactly
published
right.
my first book. And
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
way, it's #1 bestseller. Um,
So, so once I did that, people started to say, you really should write more. And I had a guy who owned a boutique brand strategy agency and design firm, and he was very complimentary and said, "Listen, you should write copy. You should write marketing copy." I had no idea what the word copy meant.
no,
So
many
I
business owners don't.
Right, right. So I threw myself into learning what that was all about, and before I knew it, I started ghostwriting for him.
Right.
So I developed his whole blog, I wrote all of his newsletters, and I started to write his web copy as well. Before I knew it, I was really working for him,
Yeah.
thankfully out of my house. So I was still able to maintain the progress on my recovery, but I was really able to make a contribution, which, is so important because, I don't have to tell you, it was depressing to not to feel like I wasn't at the top of my game.
No, exactly. And as any marketer or business owner, entrepreneur knows that the marketing copy or how you write or what you write to target in on your ideal target market, address the pains, fears, frustrations, or ambitions that they have, and being able to frame your solution around that is the key to success in this business, in being an entrepreneur and selling your services or your products. It doesn't matter if you're a retail outlet or if you're a realtor, a mortgage broker, or you're a coach or consultant, author, expert, speaker. It doesn't really matter. It's really how you express yourself and attract your ideal target market and be able to offer them a solution in such a way that they just want to knock down your door and do business with you. And copywriting is the fastest way to get there.
It is. And it's also one of the most expensive elements that you will outsource.
That's right.
So if you have the ability to learn it yourself, then do it. But if not, you've got to be willing to hire somebody because it is so incredibly powerful.
So
So I
let's
was laid off in 2008 at the start of the recession.
okay.
And
So I was just
that's
going
what
to say, let's transition into getting into actually coaching and consulting. So who it is that you actually coach and consult? I know that you're just going to continue on your story, but who is it that you actually coach and consult? What problems do you help them solve?
What I discovered was that, there's an element of us, I believe, in every ideal client. Because that sales is based on. It's an emotional decision as well as a cognitive one. So those people who I love working with most and who most enjoy working with me are people who also have some kind of corporate background. They come from typically a larger organization, maybe a couple of thousand employees. And when you have that kind of common background, you have a shared language and you have shared experiences.
Yes.
And that, I think, is important to show that you understand the pain that the person is truly experiencing. So I think if we look in our hearts, there's an element of us in every one of our ideal clients. So it just made sense to me that I would help other independent professionals and other small firms. So it was the people like me as well as people who were like the firms that I helped as a consultant with the agency.
I think you touched on an important point there, Winnie, and that as an entrepreneur, as a coach or consultant, a lot of times we are learning and growing and solving our own problems, and we sort of see a lot of the same thing in people who actually become our ideal clients, because basically we solved a problem. We were on a journey, and we had a hurdle or a challenge or a struggle, and we ended up solving the problem. But we know that there's a lot of people just like us out there going through the exact same thing. And now it's sort of our mission or our passion to be able to help them get from where they are to where they want to go, because they're in the same place that we were, and this solution worked for us. And then you go out and you help other people follow through and break through that barrier that they're facing, or that challenge, or that pain or frustration, and get to the other side. I truly believe that most entrepreneurs actually see themselves in a lot of their clients' eyes.
Amen.
Yeah. So in doing that, tell us a little bit about how you got into why podcasting. Podcasting, it seems to be taking off. So how did you think that, okay, well, I'm going to solve my problem through podcasting, or what problem were you solving? And it seems like in the last couple of years, podcasting has really taken off.
Yeah, it has. So when I went out on my own, through no wish that second time when I was laid off, I discovered, you mentioned that the accident truly changed my personality, and it did. I went from being a confident extrovert who had no problem speaking in front of 500 people and making presentations to the executive committee, to somebody who was a true introvert and never wanted to leave their house.
I hear you there.
And I hated the game of consulting. I hated the going to these networking events where I really felt like they were just trying to sell each other.
Yes.
Where I felt like there was no true effort to develop a relationship. I hated the whole game of the proposals and then the waiting, sitting by the phone. It's like dating, waiting for somebody to call you. And then when they finally do, they want to push back on your price. So the more I tried to make myself fit into a traditional style of salesperson, the more resistance I felt. And I knew that it just wasn't going to work for me.
No.
And I spent a lot of money. I paid gurus. I took classes trying to fix myself. And it wasn't until I realized that there was nothing wrong with me, that what was wrong was the business model I was following. That's when I started to really think about, okay, well, what model is going to work, is going to leverage my greatest gifts and allow me to have a tremendous impact, and also allow me to build a profitable business that's centered around my lifestyle. The standard entrepreneur's lament, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I enjoyed writing, and I was obviously good at it. So I took this class, and that's where I met you. And when I met you and the other people in that course, there was a guy named John Cody there.
Yeah.
And John Cody, I tell everybody, he's my hero. John Cody really inspired me because he had started a podcast around something he really didn't know very much about. And then he built a business around the podcast. So when I
Very
left,
successful one.
a very, very successful podcast and a very successful business. So when we left at the end of that weekend, I was really thinking about, I should check out this podcasting thing. So I started thinking about it then while I wrapped up these consulting contracts that I had. And what the research that I did showed me that podcasting is definitely on the rise. It has increased about 23% from 2015 to 2016. And I really believed that I could do this, that I could not just do a great podcast, that I could build a business around it. So it looked like it met all of my needs. Then it was just a matter of figuring out the right topic.
Right.
And I went through a few ideas, but I could just feel that technology was going to be right because it was a growing topic. It's a pain point that a lot of people have. My audience, my core audience, has this as a pain point, and I knew I could make a contribution here.
Yeah, and Winnie and I are very similar in the fact that we're both introverts and very proud to be introverts. We go back to when I started into the real estate space, prior to real estate investing as a business consultant. Then I ended up in real estate because at the same time I lost my contract, at the same time Winnie lost her job around the recession. So I ended up in real estate investing. And being an introvert, there's no way I'm picking up the phone and calling anybody or knocking on doors. So I had to basically build a system that brought everybody to me. I had to position myself as the go-to person, understand the pains, fears, frustrations, ambitions, and have the people contact me because I had a solution that offered to solve the problem, very much like Winnie's doing with her podcast and very much like we're doing with this show. Because this show is part of an overall bigger picture, a bigger strategy of accelerating my authority back into the coaching and consulting space. So working with entrepreneurs and actually showing them that how they can accelerate their authority by doing shows like this, bringing on guests like Winnie that talk about podcasting, both of us #1 best-selling authors, things like that that actually accelerate an individual's authority. So let's get into the training that we promised you guys today. So just by a show of hands, by show of likes and loves out there and comment, how many of you are actually doing podcasting right now, or how many of you are thinking about doing podcasting? Because coming up right now is 5 questions that people actually should ask before they start podcasting. So just before Winnie takes off on that, why don't you guys show us some love, like, comment, let us know about if you're into podcasting, if you're going to start podcasting, or what is the #1 podcast that you listen to on a regular basis. So while they're doing that, Winnie, let's dig right in, and why don't you just briefly talk about the 5 questions, just rhyme off the question and just sort of a brief answer as to why they should actually ask that question.
Absolutely. So once I got my show off the ground and things started running and running well, I realized, and people started coming to me asking me, how did you do this? Can you teach me how to do it? I realized that way too many people were jumping in without being fully prepared. So the very first question that you need to ask yourself is probably something that will surprise you. Most people go right to the what tech should I use? That's the least of your worries. The first question that you really need to ask yourself is your basic show idea unique enough to attract listeners, to attract people who become subscribers, to attract other opportunities to you, and you're only going to be able to do that if you have a truly unique show idea. There are 300,000 shows that are on iTunes right now. 62,000 of them are active, viable shows, meaning their host updates content on a regular basis, whatever regular might mean to them.
Yeah, so really, so how are you going to stand out amongst that crowd? Is your topic going to be good enough? And that's, I haven't launched my podcast yet, but part of my overall 90-day strategy is launching a video and audio podcast using this content. And in talking to Winnie yesterday, that sort of is formulating in my mind is how am I actually going to stand out amongst everybody else? What is it that I'm going to bring to the table that is going to attract people and want them to actually listen or watch the show?
Right. So you need to be very focused on solving a compelling problem that a clear segment has. And this problem needs to be something that is so profound that they are actively searching for a solution, and they are then going to be drawn to you for whatever reason that is your core differentiation. But if
Excellent.
your show is not unique, don't even bother moving forward until you have a unique show concept. And I have a strategy that I use and I call it a slice of a slice, and that's what you're trying to create. So imagine the topic of your podcast is a pizza, right? And then you can just have, you can have all different toppings on your slices,
Yeah.
right? So you can have a truly unique slice with the different toppings that makes your show compelling. And people who want what you have are drawn right to your slice of a slice. So that's my little strategy for creating something that's truly unique.
Great. That's some good information. I'm definitely going to be replaying that just prior to me launching my podcast. Question number 2, Winnie. We're just going to speed this up a little bit. Sorry, I know you and I can talk for hours, but
that's
most people actually have jobs and stuff.
So question number 2 is, how can I use a podcast to sell my offerings? And John has already really highlighted some of that. It's all about positioning and then pre-selling you, and then having those call to actions that your audience is going to feel are reasonable next steps for them to take. So sometimes it's appropriate to say, buy my stuff, but more often it's appropriate to say, go and get this additional free piece of information so you can learn more. I call them toe dippers. So they help people to really test you out, make sure that you're really real. But a podcast, there's nothing like it for developing that emotional connection.
And how about question number 3?
Yes. Question number 3 is, this is the biggest one. Do I have the resources to plan, produce, and promote the show? So that involves time and money more than anything else. And do I have the support that I need? Do I have the tools that I need? It's, as John will tell you, it's not all about the tech. There are these other skills that you need to have that is part of it. And a big one is, do I have enough content to really have a great show?
Excellent. Sorry, I'm just adding some feedback in the comments while you're just leaving your 5 questions there, Winnie. So, content is king and distribution is queen. You can have all the content in the world, but you need to distribute it and have an audience that is engaged and actually is following you and wants to, use your products and services, or actually they're engaged with what you actually have to say. So moving on to the number 4.
Right, and that leads perfectly into question number 4. How do I get listeners and attract an audience? So the biggest mistake that I saw other podcasters and other wannabe podcasters make was they would rally the troops who were their friends and their family and their immediate contacts, which that's great. I mean, you definitely want to get them to help you launch the show and launch it successfully. But the problem is, if you're not really getting your message out to that core listening audience, you're going to have a really profound drop off that then it's like starting all over again. So yes, rally the friends, but also make sure that you're making inroads into your core audience segment so that you're really setting yourself up for success.
Excellent. So that's key as well, is making sure that when you're launching this, that you are actually have a strategy, not just winging it on a wing and a prayer. It's like, oh, my friends will help me out. That you actually have a strategy in place to not only get the subscribers or the downloads initially, but what is your strategy going to be moving forward over the next 1 week, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, month-to-month basis.
Right. Right. It's very easy to get caught up in just producing the show, as you know, because there are so many moving pieces, but you've got to promote the episodes, and you've got to promote what I call your back catalog, the episodes that you've already done, and you've just got, it's this never-ending process of promotion.
Yeah, and that's my biggest challenge right now is the promotion part, I understand that I actually have a strategy for this particular show, but it's my resources are tied up in creating stuff for the show at the moment. So we actually haven't get into the full promotion, but promotion, the distribution is, without distribution, you can have all the content in the world. It's not going to help you. So number 5.
So then the 5th question is, how do I structure the show to educate the listener, elevate myself, and then inspire them to take action? Because you don't want to have the show so that it sounds like some buy now infomercial. You really want to add value, as you're doing, John, but you want to structure the whole show so there is a process that then when you have a call to action, people go, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. So you've got to talk to the right people, and then you've got to have the right information and make that match.
Exactly. You need to take people on a journey that shows them, that how you actually can solve problems or situations and how you can actually help them without asking for the sale every single time. Now, a lot of these in the show, obviously there's a very subtle hint on a regular basis that, I do coaching, consulting. I help people accelerate their authority. One of the ways is by creating shows like this, podcasting, all the different strategies that Winnie and I both do, that we both know because we were in all of the same courses together and learn from the same people, get coached by the same people. So, there's always that subtle undertone, but it's always about giving value. And I created this whole show for the main purpose of educating the viewers. So that's why I want to get the word out, is I want to help entrepreneurs just like me accelerate their authority and grow their business. I mean, I did it previously with my real estate investing company. I did it when I was consulting another company. I grew them from $1.5 million to $7 million. But now I want to get back into the entrepreneur space. I want to help entrepreneurs because over the last 5 years, just like Winnie, I have a whole new skill set. I have a whole new arsenal of things that I can help people do. And it's all about educating the people in what they can actually do. Give them the information. Here's what you could do. Here's how it's going to affect you. Here's how it's going to help you. And if you want my help, I'm here. You know where I am. Without actually, because Winnie and I are introverts, we're not going to pound on your door and cold call you, but we're going to add so much value that if you want our help, you know where to find us.
Right. And it doesn't mean that you don't have a call to action, because Of course you do. But that call to action is usually less than buy now.
Yeah.
It is take one step forward. And there's a coach named Andrea J. Lee, and she coined the phrase pink spoon marketing. And that talks about how when you go to the ice cream parlor, they give you this little spoon, they give you a sample. That's really the same kind of mentality that we're pursuing here, and why podcasting is so powerful. You're giving somebody a sample of what it would be like to listen to you, to work with you, to learn from you, and you're showing your perspective and your approach. So when people are ready to take action, they're more likely to say, you know what, she's pretty smart. Maybe I better call her.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys haven't done so already, like, love, share, leave your comments and questions for Winnie. I'm just going to read a couple of comments, Winnie, that people have left for you. Winnie, I don't know if this is a friend of yours, but his name's Jeff Rock. You have wonderful friends because you are a wonderful friend. And Janet Donovan Garrity, Winnie Anderson is an awesome person. Winnie, you look great, by the way. Jeff Rock also said he was just passing through. He's glad he stumbled upon this. Thanks for having Winnie on the show. So sounds like you got a great following and some great friends out there, Winnie. So we talked about the questions you should ask about podcasting. That's all great for getting into podcasting, but for us entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, speakers, it all comes down to one thing: show me the money. So how does someone monetize this?
Yeah, well, when I started my show, I had a plan, a loose plan for monetization. And I think you do want to have at least an idea of how you're planning on monetizing your show. There are lots of opportunities that range from affiliate links to selling sponsorship and advertising. Those depend on the traffic, the number of downloads that you get, that sort of thing. But for me, this is all about teaching and training other people. So courses, they're going to be a big one. What I'm going to be doing is taking the shows that have been most popular, I'm going to be turning them into deeper training programs, bringing in experts and bringing in my past guests to really go deeper into that subject area. So there are a lot of ways for you to potentially monetize your show. You want to have a general idea, and then you want to be open. When I was originally thinking that in about a year, I'll teach a course on podcasting. 3 weeks after I launched my show, I had a dozen people asking me to teach them how to create a show like mine.
Yeah.
So I had to ramp up my intention to create a course. Then I got an opportunity to record 2 commercials for the website hosting giant HostGator. They were a past guest on my show, and they came to me to ask me to record these commercials. You know, the value of that is tremendous. There's no way I could have afforded that. Right.
Wow.
So that has genuine dollar value and intangible value as well. So you can sell your actual services. You can sell sponsorships to your show. You can have affiliate links. You can then take the content of your show, turn it into courses, books, and other materials, so you can really then monetize as much of your work as possible, so you can build this sort of information empire, if you will. And I know your plan is a little bit similar to that, right, John?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do one thing, and we're going to, turn it into a multitude of different types of delivery models. So from this show, we'll cut and edit, and we'll turn it into an audio podcast. It'll become a video podcast. We'll cut clips of it out for distribution. Everything you hear will get transcribed. We'll create blogs. We'll create articles. And we'll put a compilation of all this stuff together. And we'll actually create several books from all the different shows. So it's doing one thing, but creating 3, 4, 5 different things out of it that will actually help accelerate your authority. Hence my title, hence the name of the show. All about authority acceleration. So it's what time frame do you assign to that and to do all of that stuff. So for my purposes, for my goal, I've assigned a 90-day time frame to, which is a very, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm only in episode 2, I'm thinking 90 days, how am I ever going to do all this stuff in 90 days? But that's the plan, is to just do this show 5 days a week and create all of this information, products, distribute it, and use it in different platforms, because you're not always going to reach people by video. You're not always going to reach people by books or by podcasts. So if you can do all these different things, you can reach people in a variety of different ways.
Right. People consume information differently. And one of the downsides to being a solo professional is that we only get paid when we do work. Yeah. So to be able to then leverage and monetize an action that we take and create some additional stream of revenue is really, I think, the secret to true wealth building when you are a solo professional.
Amen, sister. You're preaching to the choir when you talk, because I come from, educated in real estate investing. And, I first got into it following the Kiyosaki strategies, which is all about, it's not just about real estate, but it's also about entrepreneurship. It's about creating assets, and assets could be information products. Assets could be a show like this. Assets could be books. Assets could be real estate. So there's a variety of different assets. So the more assets you create as an entrepreneur, as an individual, as a business person, the more multiple streams of revenue you're actually going to have.
Amen.
So do you have anything else that you want to share with us, Winnie?
3 quick keys to a profitable podcast, real fast. The first is message. You absolutely have to be focused on solving a problem that people recognize they have and that they actively search for a solution for. Second is market. you have got to be talking to a clear audience. And this is the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs face. We hate to put a line in the sand and say, okay, I'm talking to you, right? But you want to have this delicate balance between a big enough pizza and then a narrow enough slice of a slice.
Yes.
So you have a big enough topic to generate ongoing content for, but that it is focused enough to really resonate with people emotionally and cognitively as well. And then third is money. Podcasting isn't free, so you need a budget to be able to do that. You need to use your money very wisely, and then you need to manage your time because time is money. So whatever you can possibly start to delegate out, you want to make sure that you're doing that, and you want to make sure that you're using your budget very, very wisely.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Winnie. And I think the best thing that we can do right now is to send you over to Winnie's podcast channel and check it out at the letstalktechshow.com. We'll post these links in the comments after the show, so you'll be able to get access to that, and you get to know Winnie a little bit better. And I think you'll agree with me that she really knows her stuff, and she does a great job at simplifying the tech for those who are non-techie. And I definitely think that you'll want to replay this video and listen to this, at least one or two more times. I know I'm going to just before I venture into launching my podcast. I'm definitely going to reference back to this and think about all the things that Winnie talked about before I actually get into launching the podcast. So how about everybody give Winnie some love, like it, love it. If you have any final questions for Winnie just before we close off, that would be great. But I want to thank you, Winnie, for being on the show. It's such a pleasure having you. And I really look forward to when we get together again the next time. And hopefully I'll have you on again. Maybe if you've got something brewing in the next 90 days, we'll have you on again just to discuss what's going on.
Happy to. Thank you very, very much, John. I wish you every success.
All right, so welcome back, and well, that wraps up the episode number 2 for the John A. McCabe Show, and it's just the beginning of season number 1. So be sure to like, share, and leave your comments about what you liked about today's show, or if you have any questions, that I can answer or Winnie can answer. I'll be glad to answer those. We'll be glad to answer those questions for you right here on Facebook. So what I want to end things up with is talking a little bit about coaching and masterminding. And we did mention some of that at the beginning and all the way through, talking to Winnie that you can't help but think about coaching or being involved in masterminds or getting some sort of assistance. But one of the most powerful tools in my arsenal is working with coaches and belonging to masterminds. I was just thinking about this the other day. I actually belong to 2 different masterminds right now and have 3 different coaches. As far as masterminds go, one I pay to be part of, and the other one I facilitate right here in the Entrepreneurs Incubator, where we film the show live. And I paid as much as $15,000 US per year to belong to masterminds, and pay upwards of $10,000 per day US to work with various coaches. Now, the reason I invest in coaches and masterminds is because I'm around people who are a lot smarter than me at the things that I'm doing, as well as what I'm not doing, because they're involved in different industries that I normally would be part of or have access to. So just being able to pay attention to how those people think, how they make their decisions, also being collectively in an environment or room with a coach or mastermind where you have anywhere from, say, 10 to 20 different people. I think it's all about, I think that, it's really means that each one of those people have, upwards 10, 20, 40 years of experience in what they do. And when you add that all up, it means like centuries of experience, knowledge, or information, life experience, wisdom, all in one place. So I cannot recommend that you get involved in some kind of coaching or consulting or mastermind yourself, either in your local area or seek out the help of coaches. And I'll do a very shameful plug. If you're interested in such a thing, then just send an email to me through john@ioffersolutions.com, or just leave me a private message or just message me on Facebook. So the other thing I'd like to do is to thank you, the viewer, for joining with myself and Winnie. I'd also like to suggest that you begin the path of staying in touch with us by going to www.johnamccabe.com to get the show notes, downloads, all the links for today's show. So with that, please like, share, and comment on the show, etc. Tweet, Instagram it, take screenshots. It doesn't matter, just distributions is the queen of all. So send a video, with a tag to the show or anything that you can do to spread the word about the show and the value you receive from it, the interviews, if you liked it. And if you don't like it, go ahead and send in some information as to what you'd like to see different. So go ahead and send it to john@ioffersolutions.com. But I want to thank you for being on the show today, Season 1, Episode 2, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.